Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast. Inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs, here is your host, Dr. Frances Arlene.
Before we dive into today's conversation about building a resilient and successful business, let's talk about the foundation. Every high-growth venture requires a plan for the unexpected. Is your family's structure as protected as your business plan? The best contingency plan for your home life is our DIY Legacy Planning Toolkit. Grab this simple roadmap right now at the link in the show notes and let's secure your legacy. Now on to the show. What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience episode number 534. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black Entrepreneur Experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Arlene. Meet Dr. Carmen Bell-Ross, the entrepreneur who guides teens and their families through the crucial college admission process with her College Smarter method. Recently featured in Fast Company, Dr. Carmen's holistic, result-driven strategy helps ambitious students rise above the competition, secure their future, and thrive from application to Ivy League and beyond. Welcome, Dr. Carmen.
Thank you so much, Dr. Frances. I am excited to be here today and chat with you. So thank you for having me.
I cannot wait to hear the backstory. I've given our audience such a brief bio. Why don't you fill in the gaps and share with our audience what you'd like them to know about you and your business?
Sure, thank you. I actually have spent my entire career helping people win. That has been my career's work, working with leaders and people across their entire career lifespan. So from the beginning of their careers all the way through, people going into the C-suite, I have worked with them to support them and help them to go to the next level and get where they want to be. For me, I am very excited about this next chapter when I'm really focusing in on our young people in a way that is connected to the business. Our larger business, we do career and professional development services and leadership development services. We do that from business to business and business to government. But working with young people, that's my heart's work. And for me, I just remember what started me on this path was looking at this little bitty face that looked a lot like me and also a lot like my mom. And I'm looking at this little person and thinking, oh my gosh, I am fully responsible for making you successful in life. And what I do for other people, it's different when I'm the one that has to do it. I'm like, oh God, help me, tell me what I need to do. And I am positioning her to be the most successful. And by successful, I just mean happy, a great contributor. I wanted to raise a person that I liked. When I really started on this path that put me on the road to creating the College Smarter method, it really started out because I was motivated to help my own baby. And she was only like 5 at the time when I was starting to think about this. I used her as my full cycle test case, but this is work that I've done for others for many, many years. So I started to refine and fine tune things because I wanted to see that little bouncy one become an adult who I actually liked and thought was doing great things.
Let's fast forward. Tell us the end result.
Yeah, my little amazing little one. So that little face bounced all the way to Harvard, and she is now a junior at Harvard studying, neuroscience. She's doing research in a lab on mice and their brains and the development of their prefrontal cortex in adolescence. The impact of stress on their prefrontal cortex in adolescence. She is the captain of the dance team at Harvard, their competitive dance team. And she also is a little entrepreneur running her own little braiding salon out of her dorm room. She is most importantly happy. She's thriving because not only is she doing well academically, but she is doing work that she loves. She loves her field that she studied. And she said, Mom, this was the right choice for me and as a school. And so overall, I just love to see that she is happy and that she is doing well and she owns her own story. She calls me and says, hey, here's what I'm thinking I'm going to do next. And what do you think about that? But it's more so consulting. She's asking me to be a consultant. She's not depending on me to direct her. I really have an appreciation for how she's independent and at the same time values advice and values what I've been able to provide for her. But she owns her own story and she knows it. If you ask her why she's doing any of the things that she's doing, she could tell you, and she's passionate about it. And that is where I think we have to connect for young people, because how many people do you know that are in a career that say, I can't wait to retire so I can do what I really want to do?
And, Dr. Carmen, that is real talk. You dropped some value bombs there because I agree. And I like the holistic approach. So someone is listening to this and they're saying, I have a child, and where do I start? What do I do? Have at it.
So if you are a parent of a middle school child or a high school child, and that child is college bound, for the College Smarter method and the strategy that we work with families for, we are working families who've already done all the right things. Parents who've already been attentive, put their kids in the best schools they could find, in the best school districts, put them in activities. How many parents do you know that can sit there and run down how amazing and how incredible their children are, right? Our goal is to showcase how amazing and how incredible they are for the world, to showcase it in a way so that they're not only getting into college, but it also helps them throughout their entire career. As they move, as they apply for jobs, as they apply for internships, as they apply for programs, because they own their story. And what we do is we validate them, because who you are is good enough all by yourself. A lot of times we tell young people, well, you need to go into this field or go into that because that's the kind of career you need to have or you'll make money. Listen, what if we started to validate them for who they naturally are, their natural gifts, their natural talents, and we say, let's shape this so that we can show you all to the world, so that people say that you are not only but you are unforgettable. And for me, I really start to focus in on that when they get to middle school. Before middle school, they are just kids being kids, and we should let them do that. We should absolutely let them do that. Let them explore, let them be wild, let them do things that make absolutely no sense to us. And then as they get into middle school, now let's really start to come up with a plan. We've paid attention to how they've grown, how they've developed, the things that they seem to like. We're starting to expose them to things. We're starting to think about where they really like to go and what they like to do. But also as parents, we can't help but to say, okay, now this is what you need to do in order to, get into a great school or to get into the great next step. And so that's where we really start to shape a plan. And for me, it's all strategy, because I don't think that the plan to get into college or even beyond should be stressful to the kid and the parent. I just don't. I think we stress ourselves out unnecessarily. You really have to understand the game. And once you understand the game, it's really about showcasing the best that is of you, for the kid to be able to showcase the best that is in you, to be able to show the world how amazing you are and that you know it, that you own the space you walk in. That is where the real beauty lies in what I do. And I love seeing the light turn on for young people when you basically are telling them, you don't have to be different. You don't have to be different than who you are. Let's refine and fine tune and come up with a plan and a strategy that makes sense, because they move through the world differently when they believe that who they are, what they naturally are gifted at, what they want to do is good enough. I know that was a long answer, Dr. Francis, but
No, Dr. Carmen, talk about your journey, your own personal journey, and what was that opportunity for you to excel?
My own journey was actually one where I was given a lot of opportunities to go to, quote, the best schools. I went to a fancy prep school for high school and middle school. I went to a big name university for undergrad and for grad school, and degrees. And you know what, Dr. Chris, I felt really lost. I was doing all that I thought were the right things to do. I was doing the things that were impressive to other people, but I did not feel that I was doing work that was in my purpose. And I wasn't even clear about what my purpose was, but I had to show the world that I was going to be successful, right? I had to keep, from my perspective, I had to keep showing that I was doing things. I had to get degrees. I had to have big names behind me and all of that. But I don't think that I was really standing in the space that I felt like this is what I was meant to do. This is who I was meant to be. And so for me, through a lot of difficulty in adulthood and a lot of challenges, unfortunately, failed relationships, marriages, I had to really do a deep dive, a lot of self-exploration, a lot of honest, difficult conversations with myself to get to a place where I could realize that what I wanted to do was good. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping young people to do that. The work that I do now, this is my heart's work. This is the work that I was meant to. I was meant to be in support and help other people when I know that. I do it well because it's natural to me. It is what I love. Does it connect to my initial degrees and all the things? Maybe, maybe not as much. But this is the work that I've seen other people flourish in so many ways, and it is so gratifying for me. So for me, that is the journey that has led me here through some challenges, but figuring out what winning looked like for me.
And I like that because I was having a conversation the other day and with someone about what I really should have done. And I should have really gone into the field nutrition, dietitian. And it wasn't very popular back in the day. And so when you talk about what winning looks like for you and for that person, and talk to the person in the audience, whether they're a parent, a teen, whomever, and they're trying to figure out what it is they should do or be when they grow up. Help them through that process.
Sure. I think we have to start by extending ourselves some grace. So, first of all, you have to take a moment to say, okay, where I am right now, I was able to wake up today and I am breathing and I am in right mind, as the old folks say. And so there's an opportunity for me to move in the direction of the life that I really want. And so wherever you are, this is where you're meant to be in this moment. And I think acknowledging that and being good with it. You haven't made, it's not about I made bad choices that got me here at this point in my career or my life. No, this is where you're supposed to be right now. So now where do you want to be? And then start from there. What do you love to do? What are you doing when you are the most joyful? What are you doing when you get the most satisfaction? Some people have showy gifts, okay? And by showy gifts, I mean, those people that you can look at, maybe they're artists and they're gifted, to paint and to draw. Maybe they're gifted for movement. They, beautiful dancers, athletes. Some people are gifted speakers. You see all these showy gifts, but I'm going to tell you, a lot of us are gifted in ways that are not showy, but they are just as powerful and just as dynamic. What are you doing when you are hearing other people say, wow, you're really great at that? Are you giving advice? Are you giving encouragement? Are you supporting other people? Are you doing something that maybe other people don't see, but it matters, it makes a difference for you? So starting by, really giving yourself an opportunity to think deep and then understand whatever that is, there is space for that in the world. Whatever that is, there is space for it in the world. And there is purpose for you to do that, because I believe we're all created with purpose. And a lot of us don't kind of figure that out until later. And that's okay. That's okay. But once you find it, you lean right into it. Lean into it hard, because that is what you're meant to do. And the world will open up for you. You would be amazed at how it makes room for you.
Dr. Carmen, I want you to have a monologue. I want you to name this person, living or not. They've contributed to you. They've inspired you so much. Who is that person and what are you saying to that person?
So that person is my grandmother. And she was born in 1913 in a small town in Southeast Mississippi. So I'm going to call her Grandma. Grandma, thank you for showing me that no matter how hard life is. You just keep going. Thank you for showing me that no matter what obstacles are put in front of you, and no matter who tells you you can't, that you can. My grandma went to college for 26 years to get an undergraduate degree because that was the circumstances that she was presented. She had to work during the year and save money when she could, and then she would go to school in the summers and do things like that. And she eventually got a degree. That's a big deal for a Black woman born in a small town in Southeast Mississippi in 1913. And I love the fact that she never complained. She said, I'm like Paul, I've learned to be content. So thank you, Grandma, for making that a model for me. And it really centers me and reminds me that wherever we start, we set the bar for how far we go. And other people and circumstances, no matter how much and how bad, because I know right now it's easy to say, all these things are coming against me. All these things are shutting me down. All these things are trying to tell me I can't. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. My grandmother went to school for 26 years, 26 to get an undergraduate degree because she was determined and she decided that no matter what, she was going to do it. And she did. I just want to encourage you that, and I won't even get into all the possible obstacles she faced and all the challenges and all of that. We don't have that. Just know you've got this.
I want you to talk to a younger Dr. Carmen. What advice would you give a younger you?
Oh, that's a good one. You have gotten through every single one of your most difficult days, and you have seen that you're going to be okay. And you're going to be okay. The choices that you make, they come with consequences, but they also come with learning. And so just make sure you're always taking the time to stop, even when things are hard and don't work out, and say, what have I learned from this and how can I move differently? Because on the other side of what you're dealing with, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. And don't worry about what other people say. You're getting distracted. Don't worry about what other people think. That is a distraction. And don't listen to people who tell you that you can't. And don't do things to be showy and to prove to others that you can. Just worry about yourself. You can do it.
Dr. Carmen, who is your ideal client?
My ideal client is a family, really a family that recognizes that, particularly maybe like a mom who recognizes that not only do I want my child or my children to be highly successful, I've done everything I can think of, but I want them to be good people. I want my child to be successful, not just academically, not just in their career, but to be a whole person who feels great about him or herself. I want my child to be a contributor to the world in a way that is meaningful. And I am here to support that in every possible way. I'm going to give them every advantage. But I also want to make sure that they're good people. I'm not looking for the cutthroat. I'm not looking for, and I mean, my students always get into their top schools, they get into one of their top schools. It's not just about that though. I'm not looking for the client that just wants to win while everybody else loses. That's not the community that lifts you. I do believe you do it in community. And that's part of, even how I build young people through College Smarter.
Thank you for that. What's a leadership mistake or opportunity that humbled you, and how did it change your approach?
One leadership mistake that I made earlier in my career was I didn't have a good definition of what it meant to be, quote, the boss and to be in charge. And I was trying to assert myself in a way that almost forced people to acknowledge my role. And I didn't allow time, but there was a lack of humility in there. And I thought I had to be different. I thought that my saying I don't know the answer, or my asking my team members to support something, or even acknowledge when they were right, that was a mistake, that I wasn't able to do that. I saw where there were opportunities to really leverage from the knowledge and experience of my team that I did not take advantage of. And I think that was a loss to me, to my business, they didn't necessarily feel that I was, supportive of their being right when I was maybe wrong.
We talk a lot about structure, but think about this. If you couldn't access your phone or computer right now, who would step in? Don't leave a guessing game for your loved ones. Our $120 DIY toolkit takes the guesswork out of an uncertain time. It gives you the step-by-step process to finally organize your digital assets, your financial accounts, and your family directives. Stop worrying. Find the link in the show notes to purchase your toolkit and get started today.
How do you identify and act on new opportunities without losing focus?
Now, that's a good question. First of all, let me say this. I'm a big believer in community and in building in community. And even as a business owner, I am building my business in community with other business owners. And I have built, through some friendships that I built because of this. And also, I started out with some people who were friends, and we have been helping support each other's businesses. We hold each other accountable for things. And so what we do is we actually meet regularly. I have a group that meets once a month, a group of women. There are 4 of us. We get together. What's going on right now? It's like our little mastermind group. I have another friend who is a business owner, and we get together every 2 weeks and we talk about our businesses and really just help to hold each other accountable for the things that we said we want to do. And I have a business mentor that I work with who also is amazing. And, she helps folks and track. I get off track, she'll listen. And then she will say, okay, Dr. Carmen, let's reel it back in. This is what you said you wanted to do. I have to use other people for that because I can see things in other people that I can't see in myself, or I recognize it. I think we all can do that. And so I really do rely on my community. Now I'm gonna call them my tribe. That's really what I say. They're my tribe. But my business has grown and has just blossomed and has become so much more gratifying for me because of my tribe. We share resources with each other. We cry together, when I have a defeat, I have them to lift me up, and I do the same, as part of the tribe. And so that's what I would say. Get your tribe. Find other folks who are going for their own goals. They want to work together. They're saying, hey, let's do this thing together. Because I'm going to tell you, it's way better when you get to whatever it is that you want to get to, and you can look at who you've pulled up with you. Because I always say we should lift as we climb. I believe in that. So that's what
Absolutely.
I would say, Dr. Francis.
Dr. Carmen, talk about your entrepreneurial journey. Did you start out as an entrepreneur? How did you go into that? Did you start out in corporate, nonprofit? How did you end up at that entrepreneurial journey? And when did you know that that was the path you should have personally taken?
I just would say I knew it was the path I should have personally taken in the last year as I really refined my tribe. I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years. My parents were entrepreneurs. I knew that that was a familiar model for me. And they had friends who were business owners. Again, that was very familiar to me. I grew up knowing a lot of people who were business owners, and they were able to actually be self-sustaining through their businesses. They were actually able to full-time work in their businesses. So that was familiar. I actually had planned to just work in my mom's business. That was my plan, to work in her business. And I did start out working in her business and worked in her business for many years. I went to college to study things that would allow me to be good in support of the business that she was in. Fast forward, when she dissolved that company, I said, Mom, will you come on board with me? And that was my dream, to be in partnership with her. And so now she is actually my business partner. She joined me in business. And the reason I say that I just probably really realized this was for me a year ago is that I was really doubting myself secretly for a long time. Like, can I really do this? Like, am I really going to be able to ride this thing into retirement, and I'm responsible for myself fully? Like, am I going to really be able to employ other people and to do the work that I want to do? And, there are a lot of days that I was like, nope, I don't think so. There are a lot of days I was looking at that balance sheet like, this is not balancing. There are a lot of days I wanted to go climb in the closet and tell everybody, leave me alone. I'm done. I have come up with all kinds of strategies like, maybe I just need to go find somebody that's like a wealthy prince somewhere and he could just take care of it. Because this is not it. This is hard. Entrepreneurship is hard. It's not for the faint of heart. It's not, but it takes a special kind of determination, belief in what you're doing, belief in yourself, belief in the fact that you are gifted to do something that is special and that's needed and that other people will pay you to do. You are. And so if that's the path you're on, just stay encouraged and find your tribe, and then you'll be able to get it straight.
Thank you for being, Dr. Carmen, so authentic, because a lot of people, especially with social media and what we see, the glamour of entrepreneurship, but you're talking about there's a lot of risk and a lot of rewards in entrepreneurship. Let's talk about raising capital. How did you raise capital to finance your business?
That was really hard. I was hustle bunny. That's how. I tapped out my credit line. I was, working myself like, okay, if I do this many, workshops and sessions and go do this many speaking engagements, then I can use that money to fund this. I used that effort to fund other projects and then try to, really roll from there. I have borrowed money from family. I eventually was able to get a business credit line, but listen, I would love to tell you that that's easy to do. It is not. I would love to tell you it's the right thing to do. That's a whole other conversation. But I did everything I could come up with. I had to self-fund because I didn't have funders just, knocking at my doorstep. And it's very difficult with a service-based business to get that kind of support. And the banks are not super generous. I'm going to tell you, sometimes it's the credit card company. For example, American Express did hold me down. Now, I'm going to say this. American Express helped me to float and hold it down. But American Express wants what American Express wants at the end of the day. So you will pay. It's an investment. It's real. And I have had advisors to tell me, oh, that's not the best way, percentage rate, do this and did it. Listen, you have to do what you have to do to fund your vision and your dream. And if that means you got to pay 29.9% interest just to get it going, try to do as little as you can. That's just the reality for me. I would love to have had a cleaner story. It was not easy for me to get investors. I had to play real nice with, family members and say, no, but I really am smart. I got this. Trust me, I'll give you your money back. My brother is great. Thank you, Mikey. My mom is great. Thanks, Mom. Honestly, even when I was doing it alone, I could not have done it without others. And so that's just the truth for me.
Dr. Carmen, if you lost everything and you had to rebuild in 30 days, what industry and why?
So it would take me about 28 days to pick myself up off the floor. You know what? To be quite honest with you, I would still do the college work with young people because for me, it is personally gratifying. And I know that, parents invest in their children. It's important. It allows me to do the work that I feel like I'm meant to do. And at the same time, I know that there is opportunity in that space. I sure hope that the Lord doesn't test me with that challenge of having to rebuild it all in 30 days. But that's where I would actually sit. I think at my age now, part of the reason I'm so excited about what I'm doing now is that I'm finally really, really, truly leaning into my happy place, truly leaning into what I'm meant to do. When you are At this point where you're looking ahead and likely have fewer years ahead of you than behind you, you just see everything differently. And what's important, you see differently. What matters to me, I don't want to wake up and not do work that I enjoy. I don't want to wake up and feel like I'm miserable. I don't wish to do that. And you can't pay me to do that. I'll find something else. I will go and work at the grocery store to fund it before I will. And I mean, I actually like groceries. So, but I'm just saying I will do something like that before I want to wake up and do something that I just find makes me unhappy. I'm at a point in my life where I just want to do that. So I would continue the work that I'm doing with young people and with
And
their
I like
families.
that. I like that, Dr. Carmen, because one of the things, and with you working with our future leaders, and you can correct me if this is right or wrong. And what I'm noticing with the younger generation, they're not doing what I'll say my generation did. We did whatever it took to survive. And when you said you don't want to work any place that you don't want to work, do you find that
Mhm.
is the paradigm shift of this new generation?
I do actually. Every generation on some level thinks the next generation or the next couple of generations are a little bit nuts in different ways. And so we complain about, listen, the generations before us, they thought we were nuts, okay? They thought that we did not have it right. But I'm going to tell you, I also believe that you can learn from anybody. And I think being able to see there's an upside to their perspectives. And I think that's part of our challenge of bringing them into the workforce because we are like, they don't work like we do. They don't operate the way that we do. They don't want to come to work. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. Okay, there are some challenges that we are facing in that way. But I'm going to tell you, they also got some stuff right in saying, I want to be treated with decency and respect at work. You can't just pay me and treat me any kind of way. I don't value that money in that way. I think they got that part right. I do. I think that they got right the idea of taking care of self, the idea that they should be happy and mentally healthy. I think they got that part right. There's some other things I think they'll mature into, life, mortgages, families, and kids will help them to evolve in certain ways. But I think that it's important to recognize that the relationships we have with them should be mutually beneficial and that we're all learning from each other and we're growing together. We have wisdom to share, but I think we should also be open to growing too and learning from them and not just how to use our iPhones. I mean, they can help with that too, but not just that way.
Talk about your top two influencers and what lessons did they teach you?
My top two influencers would absolutely be my mom and my dad. And I know it's cliche to say your parents because that's what we say. I felt like I grew up as one of the Huxtables. My parents were, I never saw them argue. They were married for over 50 years. They still held hands. They did all the things. Our home was happy. I've never, we had the house that other people wanted to be at all the time. And they had a spirit of warmth and welcome all around them. To me, they enjoyed and appreciated life every day. And they valued each other and treated each other with respect and love. And so to me, what I saw, unfortunately, I lost my dad in 2017, but my dad left nothing on the table. I'm gonna tell you, he lived a life that he found so fulfilling. He did wild stuff sometimes that made no sense to my mother financially. They would be on the same page in terms of, she would be like, okay, if you really want to buy a boat, you know, but everything he thought that would bring him joy, he did. And I really realized when he was no longer here, he left nothing on the table. I want to do that. I want to do that. I don't want to leave here and say, I should have, I wish I had. Nope, I'm doing it. Let's go. So,
Right. And our sincere sympathy for the loss of your dad. Thank
yeah.
you for sharing. And say his name, please.
Clarence Bell.
Thank you for that. This interview, Dr. Carmen, what's the takeaway that you want our audience to leave with?
Thank you for asking that. I want you to leave with this. There are a lot of things happening in our world right now that I believe are distractions. There are lots of things people are saying. Our country is not in its best place. We're not all moving in the same direction, and it seems like we're moving further and further apart from each other in a lot of ways. And I think it's easy to get in a panic about that and what that looks like and what that means. I think it's important to focus. What is it that you really want for your life? What is it that you really want for you? Because what we focus on expands. If we focus on problems, they just seem to get bigger and bigger. And if we focus on possibilities, those start to become endless. Focus on your possibilities and know that whatever challenges you are facing, you will get to the other side and will be better for it.
If you conducted this interview, Dr. Carmen, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? I want you to ask the question and answer it.
Oh goodness. Dr. Francis, now that was a tough one. Honestly, I would have asked myself kind of what you just asked me. What is it that you really want to leave? What is it that you really want people to know? And what I really want people to know is that I am human too. What you see and all the wonderful things that I have been blessed to be able to do and accomplish and achieve. I'm proud of those things. I worked really, really hard for those things. And then there was, of course, God's grace on top of that. But I'm going to tell you, it is so important that we just keep going, just keep going and it will be just fine. I think that's where I would leave it.
What is a daily or weekly habit that you do consistently that has given you the greatest success?
I kickbox and I box. I have to hit stuff because I can't hit people. And so, but you got to find what works for you as an outlet. And I find that to be really gratifying. I lost about 100 pounds at one point, 100 pounds of stress and just all kind of stuff because I really had a lot of weight to shed emotionally, physically, all the things. And for me, I had to find something that I could do that allowed me to release all of that, not just the weight, but just the emotional weight. So that for me has been super amazing.
Dr. Carmen, let's take a snapshot of the last 30 days. What has been
Mhm.
your biggest win?
I think my biggest win in the last 30 days was when I had an opportunity to talk to my daughter about some things she was experiencing. And I heard her repeat back to me in her own words advice that I have been offering to her over the years and why she was making the choices that she was making. I was like, that's huge because we keep talking to them and we hope that they're listening. But so that was for me a big win.
That's awesome. And how did you celebrate that win?
I think I just told everybody close to me because I was real proud of myself.
I like that.
So
We've come to the part of our interview. It's called the rapid fire questions. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I'd like you to give me very quick answers. If there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the rapid fire questions?
I'm ready.
What is the first thing you do every morning?
I read my devotional.
What one book that's changed your life?
Scale or Fail by Allison Maslin.
Coffee or tea while building an
Coffee,
empire?
coffee, 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 coffee.
What's one app or tool that you can't live without?
I would say, I hate to say it as Facebook, but it shouldn't be.
If you had to pitch your business in one sentence, what would it be?
I help people go from impressive to unforgettable.
Your favorite singer or rapper?
Will Downing.
What food you eat every week, no matter what?
Every day I eat eggs. Scrambled, boiled, over medium, over easy. On everywhere you could cook an egg, omelets, I eat them. I love them.
Dr. Carmen Bell-Ross, thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Before we let you go, share with our audience the best way for them to connect, to do business with you, and feel free to leave all your social media handles.
Thank you. So please visit collegesmarter.com. It's collegesmarter.com. You can schedule an appointment to to talk about an advantage map for your student. It's complimentary, and it's an opportunity to really help get them on the right path if you are a middle school or high school parent. And that you are welcome to reach out to me via my email, which is at spgrace.com. I welcome the opportunity to hear from you. And you can check out my social media handles. I will tell you what they were off the top of my head, but I really want you to go to spgrace.com website.
Thank you, Dr. Carmen. That's a wrap.
Thanks again to our incredible guests for sharing their insight on building a resilient business. And remember, what we discussed, resilience starts at home. If you're ready to protect the legacy you're building, not just the income, make sure to check out the DIY Legacy Planning Toolkit. You can find the direct link in the show notes. Go get your peace of mind now.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.